Hello. Welcome back to the Football Corner. Welcome back to another live stream, another show, another video on the channel. Big ups to everybody that is tuned in nice and early. Big ups to everybody that is watching on the replay. Make sure you're smashing a like button for us. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel as well if you haven't already. Welcome back to another episode of Cold Hard Truths. Today, I'm joined by my brother in arms. Yeah, it's none other than Mr. Dan Potts in the building. How you doing, Dan, man? You good?
Come on, man. Yeah, pleasure, man. Pleasure being back on. Good to see you doing your thing. Make sure you like and subscribe, people, and pleasure to come chat to you about the Arsenal, my friend. How are you, mate?
It's, man. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't lie. I can't complain, man. Um, with everything that's happening right now, I feel like when I complain, it's like first world problems, bro. Everybody else got third world problems, bro. I'm sitting here with first world problems, like, the cars are not polished enough, the house ain't
Yeah, it's
working
mad.
to perfect order, like, you know what I mean, bro. Everybody else has got burst pipes and all sorts, bro. So it's just, listen, I'm good, man. For what I'm seeing around me, I'm good, man. I can't complain in football world anyway.
Good, man. Good.
Um, yeah, big up to you, Dan. Obviously we're here to do cold hard truths. Normally I get rivals on to do this, but I thought let me do one with an Arsenal representative. And yes, big up Capo, big up, man. You know, the fresh fade, man. Let me know if you F me up, man. Let me know, man. Let me know. You know what I mean? I came out of there looking crisp, bro, looking cool, bro. You know what I mean? I was
Big
gassed.
up, bro.
But listen, I think the first thing we need to speak about is the season review. Obviously, how you're feeling overall about the season that we had. Obviously, last season, how it ended, we bottled it. Let's just say it how it is. We bottled it. This season, it doesn't feel so. It doesn't feel that that's the case this season. I think we didn't bottle it, but we still fell short. Another season trophyless where we have nothing at the end of it. What's your thoughts on the season overall, mate?
Yeah, this season was disappointing at the end again, but I must say we took Man City as close as we could. Last day of the season, it's been a long time since we've got into that game, knowing that we can mathematically win the league. I must say though that I'm disappointed with the lack of domestic cups again. I feel like we need to
Mm.
start taking them a lot more seriously. I know a lot of people don't see that as major honours, but trophies are trophies, man. And League Cups and FA Cups is what I grew on, so that was disappointing. The other thing that was disappointing was the weekend that we kind of looked at now as the time that we went out the Champions League and lost the league, and that was Aston Villa and Bayern Munich. I think that we'll look back at those kind of areas of the season where we went out the domestic cup against Liverpool, we lost to West Ham and Fulham, and then we kind of went on this amazing run after Dubai and thought, wow, we might do this. And then we got into that Aston Villa game, sandwiched in between the two Bayern games, and it just went wrong for us. And it just seems that we have these little clusters that Arteta seems to not be able to shake away. We can't get this
Mm.
bounce back ability of lose a game and then go boom, win, 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 win. And I think that's something that
Mm.
we've definitely got to look at and take into consideration, whether it be we go for a title or top four. We had clusters and we went for top four where we lost to a Palace, Brighton, and Southampton, if you remember, last
Yeah.
season. We had the Southampton draw at the Emirates, which
Mm.
kind of resulted from the back of the West Ham and Liverpool draws. And I think that cost us. And then later on in that season, we had Brighton and Forest where we'd lost. So I know it's kind of a negative start, but I just feel like let's get that out of the way. This season we had that with West Ham and Fulham, and then obviously Aston Villa and Bayern. But it
Mm.
was a real good season in terms of how we were playing and what we've done looking on the pitch. Like, I was really impressed with some of the football that I saw, particularly in the latter part of the season, going away from home and blitzing teams, fives, sixes, fours.
Mm.
It's not something that we're massively known for doing, certainly under this manager. So there's definitely concerns that he can't get us across the line, but there's no denying the progress side. I mean, I look at it now, I think eighth, fifth, then you look at second. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't won anything yet under with this team, but I look at what we have done and it is fairly pleasing in terms of progress. I just hope that we can get across the line, man, because that's my biggest worry. Until we do that, there'll always be that question mark: is this
Mm.
guy the right guy? Are we going to get across the line? Is he going to be able to take us to that next level? And unfortunately, as much as we all want to say yes, we don't know that is the case yet. And I think that we just need to shut everyone up by going, Here you go. Here's a Champions League. Here's a Premier League in your face. We're doing that at the end of the season. And that's what I want to be seeing with this Arsenal side, man, because I love the players and I think the manager's done a lot of good. But I'm always going to have that in the back of my mind. The can he get us across the line, man? And I think that's still out this season, bro, if I'm honest. And I don't want to be fit like that.
Yeah, listen, I agree with a lot of stuff that you said. Like, I think next season, Arteta just needs to go out there, just do the domestic double. Forget about Champions League right now, because that's a whole different kettle of fish. If you get the Premier League and the FA Cup, you'll shut everybody up. Nobody will speak anymore. Firstly, you'll beat Pep in his so-called season, that last season in the Premier League. That's number one. And also, you're gonna shut the doubters up that are saying he can't win us nothing. Why are we going with this guy when he can't win us anything? Do you know what I mean? Because I think there's fairness from both points. Obviously, people love the football that we're playing now, and they're seeing us competing. So they're fair enough to say, you know what, we want to keep Arteta based off of that. But I also think partially the Arteta routers are also have their own reasons for why, and why it's fair enough for them to ask their questions, to be like, why is he still in the job? Why is he still there if he can't win us anything? He hasn't taken any of the cups seriously. And I've always been a guy who, listen, I'm like you. My dad drilled that into me when I was very young. Yeah, the cups are very important. I know people will sit there and troll about the Carabao Cup, like the League Cup, and the FA Cup is the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really troll that. It's a major trophy. But the League Cup, these trophies are important. So even if you're winning those are like trophies that can still keep you in the job. They can show that you give that team the winning mentality, the feeling of winning something together. That's special. Like, if you get a team winning something together, that is kind of like it's like when you do the drugs for the first time, bro. You know what, these the drug addicts that do these crazy drugs, and then they speak about that first hit. You always want to get that first feeling that you did it at that first time. That's the same thing with winning, bro. Once they win it first time, but they're gonna be like, bro, I want to feel that again. I want to feel that again, but I want to feel it better now. And they're gonna go for Premier League. They're gonna go for Champions League because they want that first feeling. And listen, I really want to win something, but I think you can. What I said yesterday, because I did a call-in show and we were speaking about it, and I think you can look at the season in two ways, because both things can coincide at the same time. Yeah, we can fail, but we can also progress at the same time. We did progress from last season, where on a points basis we actually took him to the last day. Pep had to win. He had to win. He couldn't draw. He couldn't lose. He had to win that game in order for him to win the title. So we took him until the last day. And also, obviously the failure comes because we didn't get any trophies. So let's face it, it is trophies that define success or failure. But overall, I don't think it's as black and white as that. Like, you have to understand that there is progression to a certain extent, and you have to differentiate progression from success, because they're two different things. I don't think they're the same thing, unless you're just progressing and winning trophies on the way. Then your progression and your success is doing the same thing. But yeah, listen, I agree with a lot of stuff that you said. I think a lot of the players really showed that they can do it in the big games. I think Martin Odegaard was brilliant this season. Gabriel this season, I don't know if you want to say anything about him, but I think he's my most improved player, because last season to this season, he has taken all of those bozo moments, all those stupid moments that he used to have, and he's completely eradicated it from his game. And he said, nah, I'm here. He's celebrating blocks, he's celebrating tackles. Like, the guy looks like a changed man. And even last at the end of the season, bro, against Everton, bro, he had a broken where it looks like a dislocated shoulder, I think, and he still was trying to get in on the tackles and that. And before they said to him, "Now you gotta get out of here, bro." He was still trying to fight on. I don't know what you want to say about the players, man, because I think a lot of them really showed their class this season.
I mean, the obvious one to mention is Declan Rice, because the signing was elite. He's brought mentality and leadership to the club, no doubt. But also what he's done is he's actually brought a consistent head in the middle there that actually has some physical attributes that I don't think we've had for a long time in the Arsenal midfield. I think you've got to go back as far as Highbury to look at some of the steel we've had in midfield. We haven't really had them. Over the years under the Emirates, under Wenger, we had like the Flamini's and the Fabregases,
Mm.
Cazorlas, Wilshire's, Ramseys, all really technically gifted players, don't get me wrong, but there was no steel. And when we did have steel, it was Alex Song or Francis Coquelin or Granit
Yeah.
Xhaka. We haven't had somebody like that for a while. And when Arteta's come in, he's brought in Partey and Rice, who have been everything that we needed in terms of that. I think the physical stature of both of them goes without saying. So you've got that with Declan Rice. I think the drive has been there as well. The ball carrying's there. The interceptions are there. I think he's got the goals as well. 7 goals, 8 assists. So he's been
Yeah.
up there as being one of the better ones, player of the season for me. So he's obviously mentioned. And then I've got to talk about the two behind them because I think Gabriel and Saliba complement each other so well, man. You know, Saliba's that ball playing defender. We all know how good he is. But Gabriel, for me, has been our best centre back this year. He's been a monster. And you're right to bring him up because he's not always someone that gets the credit he deserves. I think defending, he's a monster. I think he definitely is allowing Saliba to be the player that he is. And I think Saliba allows Gabriel to be that guy. I think when Gabriel has those bozo moments of the last couple of seasons, that's now been ironed out of his game. And I think Saliba's a massive part of that. I also think that if there is a mistake rarely made by one of our defenders, the other one's got each other's back. And I think we saw that. I think it was it one of the games at home only recently where kind of Gabriel got caught and then Saliba's like, I've got you. Don't worry. I'm here. And I think that's really important that we've got a pair of them that are actually complementing each other.
I think it's the
And then, of course,
PSV game
there you
and
go, yeah.
Crystal Palace game as well. Crystal Palace game where I think a player was going in. I'm not sure who the player was, and Saliba literally crossed across to tackle him for Gabriel.
The pair of them have been impressive to say the least, and I don't really understand how anyone can not put the pair of them as the best two centre halves this year. I think they're the two best in the league, and I think in Europe there's not many that compete with them right now. So we're very, very fortunate to have these two lads. Declan Rice in front of them, I mentioned. I think Ben White deserves a mention since Dubai. I think he's been consistently good. And as has Martin Ødegaard. You're right to mention him turning up for big games because I saw the games that we weren't very good in. Aston Villa, he was by far one of the best players. Got taken off. We end up losing the game. Martin Ødegaard at Bayern Munich was the only one driving forward, the one who really showed he wanted it. At Porto, he was immense. Absolutely amazing. So I see Martin Ødegaard in big games disappear in the last couple of years. Now I'm seeing him turning up. And I think when you look at what he's done on and off the pitch since he's been at Arsenal, he's probably going to go down as Mikel Arteta's best signing. Like, to be fair, for 30 or 35 million, honestly, the work rate is sensational. He never gives up. He leads by the press. He's an example, great example and leader and a good captain. So I think the players you mentioned are fair. I think the only other one that I would give a mention that I don't really think has actually been talked about enough is Leandro Trossard, because the guy's been an absolute baller for us. The finishing is the best at the club. He scored enough goals to compete with some of the best at the club. And also, he hasn't actually been a player that started many games up until the last quarter of the season. So I think the numbers don't lie, man. I honestly don't think we can talk enough about this guy. And that signing for 26 million in January, wow, that was phenomenal. So they're the ones I've got to go with, man. Kai Havertz, I think, deserves a mention, rightly so. I think if you want to talk about Raya in terms of the Golden Glove, I still have a couple of question marks, but I think he's definitely improved us in terms of what attributes we needed in a goalkeeper. And there's other players that have come in and done a job, but they're the ones that I would mention that stuck out for me, bro.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, listen, I think Declan Rice also. I agree with you, man. He's the fact that nobody's talking about his price is just the biggest compliment to him, bro.
100%.
Because you hear everybody else, Enzo Fernandez, 100 million. You hear freaking Caicedo, 150. Like, bro, it's crazy. But when you speak about Rice, they only speak about Rice. They don't say, oh, look at him, he came in for 100 million, 105. Look what he's doing, this and that. No, it's just simple. He's played like 105 million pound player. That's what you should get when you pay 105 million. And I feel like this era, this kind of generation that we're in right now of football, where there's too many players going for 100 million, but they don't often give you 100 million worth of talent. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely think he has. Also, you know, the the partnership between Gabriel and Saliba, man. I put something up on TikTok a while ago which was a stream that me and Matt from Back in the Net podcast had, where we were on a stream, and I said something which was it was quite bold to say because it was still the start of the season or early into the season, but I said that plain and simple, this centre back partnership reminds me exactly of what I saw from Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic in regards to you have one centre back that's just brilliant on the ball and just composed under pressure and all of that. And you have the other guy who's the hard man, the guy that's trying to go through the player, take him and the ball and not get a foul with it. He might get a foul every now and then, but you know what I mean? He's that big guy, the one that wants to get physical, that wants to have a fight, that wants to have a scrap. And I think they do resemble. I'm not trying to say that they're the same level yet, because obviously there's levels to that. Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic are some of the best centre backs we've seen in the league in the history. So I just think that partnership in itself is like a good example to put of what kind of partnership they have as two players. And Trossard, yeah, Trossard has been amazing, man. Trossard, for his price, which I think was like 20 million, or was it 25 million, something like that,
Yeah,
from
26 million. Yeah,
Brighton.
right.
And
Yeah,
to think to
still, bro.
think that
Still.
to think that I think us and Liverpool got the best deals out of Brighton, because
Yeah,
they got
100%.
McAllister, we got Trossard.
Yeah.
Everybody else just got bopped. Everybody else got bopped off the park by Brighton, bro. We're just the ones that went in there, got the players, the good ones, and then we just left and said, "See you later. Leave you with the rest of them. You lot can fight amongst yourselves." But yeah, listen, I agree, man. So many good players this season. Saka, I think, output wise, Saka had a good season, but performances wise, I think there's still there's something wrong with Saka right now. Whether it be he's playing way too much, which that's my opinion. I think that he's overplayed. I think that he's injured. He's still carrying stuff, because even when he's on the pitch, he's getting tired, and uh, people want to take the piss and say, "Oh, limp biscuit. Oh, look at him. He's limping off the pitch." But I genuinely think he's injured, man. I genuinely think he's just forcing himself to play, and the club doctors have to do their due diligence and say, like, bro, I think this guy needs to be rested. We need to bring somebody in who is of that caliber to step in and the levels don't drop like when a Reece Nelson comes on. Because no offense to Reece Nelson, but the levels do drop. So we need to bring somebody in. But I think overall, he's the fact that he's still managing to get the output and get the assists, get the goals. I mean, he got more goals than last season and assists, I believe. And listen, he's still managing to do that while having a bad season performance wise, which is it's only a good sign for Saka that even when he's not performing well, or even when he's not performing to his best, he's still managing to squeeze out some sort of goal or assist or goal involvement in the game.
Yeah, Saka for
Um,
me, I think this season, 34, 35 GA. It's incredible. No, he's not had the best season in terms of some of his performances. I don't look at him and think, wow, this guy is absolutely the best player on the pitch in every single game. I don't think he has to be that. I don't think Saka has to be the best every single game. I don't think a typical performance has to be Saka scoring or assisting in every single game. I don't think a typical performance for Saka needs to be him running rings around players, scoring Lionel Messi goals. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, he's held to that standard by not just Arsenal fans, some of them, but rival fans as well. It seems to
yeah,
me that if you look at Bukayo Saka's performance and he's been kicked all game, if he's coming off limping, it means he's had a bad game. Actually, it means he's been kicked and teamed up on by 3 or 4 players. So I think Bukayo Saka has had a pretty okay season. He's actually bettered his golden assists of last season, where everyone said he was fantastic. I think sometimes he's disrespected. And I think when you look at what he has done at Arsenal since the age of 17, 18 years old, it's phenomenal, because he hasn't been lifting trophies with it and he's only had one trophy. People will look at that now and go, it's been a failure. No, it hasn't. The guy's been phenomenal. He's carried us. He has not been a player that was brought into this team to carry Arsenal on his own. He should have
yeah,
had the help of some of the others. And unfortunately, when you look at it, Saad, a lot of the players that have done well at Arsenal at a young age were surrounded by top talent. Whether you look right the way back to Rocky Rocastle, you go through to Ashley Coles, you go through to the likes of the Emirates eras with Fabregases and Van Persies. They were surrounded by winners, absolute winners and leaders. Bukayo Saka had to be brought through the ranks and put into a side that had Granit Xhaka, Bellerin, Mustafi, Lewis. Come on, man. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, he's not had any leaders there to take him forward. So I think you just have to be realistic about Saka. And what I will say lastly, all the rivals that say, oh, Saka this, Saka that, he's better than Saka, he's better than Saka. Stop using Saka as the benchmark then, because clearly Saka is the one you shouldn't be comparing him to, because apparently all these players are better than him. So go and compare him to Salah, or go and compare him to, I don't know, somebody like a Hazard Giggs level. Don't compare him to Saka, because clearly Saka's not one of the best wingers in the league. I don't get it. It's bizarre for me, man. It's a lot of criticism, a lot of mad disrespect, and I'm a big fan of Bukayo Saka, man. Big fan.
Yeah. No, 100%. Listen, I think I'm with you, mate. Honestly, if he is as shit as you guys say he is, why are you comparing all your players to him? Why they get compared to him? Like, why? Because
mad,
the only
mad.
people who seem to think that is football fans. Pundits and professionals all seem to think he's amazing, and he's quality. But when it comes to football fans, whoa, we know more, man. We see it. Saka's not that. So listen, it's fine. Just don't compare him.
We need cover for him. Don't get me wrong. Like, for me, Jesus would be the one that I'd use out there now. I think I'd go get a number 9, use Jesus at right wing if he wants to stay, that is, and I would keep Jesus as a squad player. But we definitely need cover for him. He can't be playing like every game, man. It's mad. We're gonna burn this kid out before he gets to 25. Otherwise, do you know what I mean?
That's the fit. That's done. That is the fear, mate. I don't want him to end up being, a player that's just burnt out, bro. Because that's the thing. That's the thing with players like Wayne Rooney, where they played from such a young age at such a high level. Where Wayne Rooney, when he got to the latter end of his prime, like, bro, he was gaining weight. He was looking like an old man. It was mad because he'd been at that top level for so long and just consistently doing it season in, season out, playing every single game. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts what's going on with Saka, but we definitely need to try and look at him and get some backups for him. And I agree, Jesus could be the one. Every time I see him on that right wing, it seems to be Jesus. It just suits him. It just suits him. Just he's quick on the ball. He's got quick feet. He knows how to put a pass across the box for an attacker running in. So yeah, I listen. I would 100% put him in there, man. I would 100% put him in as the backup. Moving on from the season review, just quickly, player of the season. Who are you giving it to officially? Player of the season.
Yes, 3 names for me: Saliba, Gabriel, Declan Rice, because they've been consistent from minute 1 to the end. I'm going to give it to Declan Rice, though, man. He's been immense.
Listen, I'm going to give it to Gabriel just because I can't lie. He's surprised me, man. I didn't think he was gonna elevate this much. I didn't think it would ever happen. So I have to give it to Gabriel. But Declan Rice, Saliba, they're just there, man. They're just there. Literally, if it wasn't him, it'd be the other, one of the other two, man. That triangle, it's nuts, man. But moving on to the transfer list part of this thing, man. We got to speak transfers. I know I want to start off with one that really pissed me off when I saw it, and I watched your video, and you have the exact same, what's it called? You have the exact same thought as mine, an opinion as mine, sorry, which is, why is Marcus Rashford linked to Arsenal, trying to be brought into Arsenal? Man, are we a charity? Are we a charity? Case, like, do we just help all these broken footballers?
Bro, it's mad. I don't get this one, fam. I don't get this one. I'll tell you why I don't get it. He's on 375k a week. That's a madness. The other reason I don't get it is he's 26, 27. That's not a project. That's a player who should be playing at his prime. The other reason I don't get it is because he's at Manchester United, who are going to want a fee of up to 40 to 50 million for this guy, bare minimum. That is not a priority area that we need to be looking at. And then secondly, or thirdly, or fourthly, he's a left winger. We got Martinelli, we got Trossard. We do not need this guy. This guy can only play in one position, which we are being told is left wing. Now, I've never seen him in the numbers 9 position and rated him. He's definitely not a right winger. He's only really ever done well on the left. I understand that there's talent there. I'm not saying he's a poor player. But the mentality of the guy is of the Conference League level, bruv. I cannot stand players like this, where they are the trouble. They're not bothered. They've come out and they've been in nightclubs. They've had interviews where they said, don't question my commitment. Next day he's walking around and letting Ross Barkley walk past him. I don't believe this guy is the elite level. And I also don't think that it is a player that would come into Arsenal and go, right, he's ready now. He's win now player. I think you're going to need to give this guy a whole season, like we have with Havertz, to get good halfway through it to go, now he's finally scoring. And I don't think we need that, man. When you look at Declan Rice coming in, boom, ready. Saliba, boom, ready. I think we need a number 9 that's going to be ready and a midfielder that's going to be ready to take this team forward. A lot of people are saying we need left backs and defenders and all this kind of stuff. You can talk about that as well as you want. But I think in the first team, I believe the goalkeeper's set in stone. The back 4, along with Timber at left back, will be set in stone. And I think a midfielder with Rice and Erdegaard and a number 9 with Saka and Martinelli or Trossard, I think is done. I do not want Rashford at Arsenal. And I just think if he did come, I wouldn't sit there and be like, right, that's a disgrace, blah, blah, blah. But it would really be frustrating for me to have that as a priority over a number 9 or a midfielder. If he's coming in as well as those and the names are really good, then I'm not going to kick off too much about it. But if he's coming in instead of a number 9, like if there was, I don't know, the chance for us to get Alexander Isak, but we're going for Rashford instead, I think it's a madness for me. So, yeah, number 9 and midfield are definitely a priority. This guy is not a priority for me.
Yeah, no, I can't lie, man. Rashford, this shit stinks. This shit stinks, bro. Why are we going in for this guy? The thing is, I could understand, like you said, if we were going in for other guys and we got Isak and we got Bruno G, and then we got all of our big signings, and then we decided, you know what? Let's just put 60 million on Rashford. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I could be like, you know what? That's fine. Okay, it's fine. Let's just see what happens. I'm happy. I got my signings. I got what I wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? But if we're going out and we're making this guy our main signing, no. Hold on a minute. This season that's coming up, I don't think you understand like the pressure of this season and what's going to happen if you don't win a trophy again. The fan base is going to explode. I'm just going to let Mikel Arteta know the fan base will explode, bro. You think there's Arteta outers now, bro? It's gonna be back to when we were losing top 4 to the shit guys down the road, and our Tetarators were there. So listen, I think right now, stay as far away from him. I think his mentality stinks. He's all over the place. This guy is more bothered about going out and enjoying his life rather than putting his head down and focusing on his football, which is his job. Like, imagine me not focusing on my job and being like, oh, don't question my commitment to my company that I work for. No, I'm committed 100%. Next thing you know, you'll see me sitting there with my feet up on the desk and my manager's saying, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working. I'm looking at the computer. Fucking, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, man. But moving on, Thomas Partey. Some news came out today. Obviously, news has come out that he is going to be leaving Arsenal, and we've put him up on the market. However, news has come out now that apparently he don't want to leave. He wants to play his contract out, so run his contract down, and then obviously leave on a free. What's your thoughts on Thomas Partey leaving or possibly leaving? It looks like he doesn't want to, but what's your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I'd keep him and let him see out his contract, because let's be real, we're not actually going to get anything more than about 15, 25 million for this guy. So for me, you just keep the guy in the squad. And I think if you're looking at going for all competitions next season, you've got 4 trophies available. You've got Jorginho and Partey that can play in that midfield in those League Cup games, FA Cup games, and if you want to, in some of the league games coming on. And I think we're going to need that. We've only got Declan Rice. If he goes and El Nenny's gone, we've got Rice and Jorginho. Now, we're obviously going to buy a midfielder, but we actually need to buy one, not 2 or 3. So I think if we just sell them all, we're going to have to keep buying midfielders and midfielders. So I don't see the point of getting rid of Thomas Partey unless someone comes in and says he's 30 million. I'd take that. But otherwise, I just keep him as a squad player. I think Thomas Partey's got unbelievable attributes. When he's fit, there's no denying he's one of the best players at the club. The problem is keeping him fit. And I've likened him to a car that you keep in your garage that you just take for a blast down the seafront once every few weeks, because that's kind of what he is. And I think next season, that's what he's going to have to be. Him and Jorginho are going to have to be the equivalent of an El Nini this year, where you only use him if you absolutely have to. And I think Rice and somebody like Fofana and De Jong, or Fofana and Bruno Guimaraes, or Zubamendi and Bruno Guimaraes, they're the two sort of players that I think we need to be bringing into the squad. So, I think Partey being sold would leave us extremely short. And I think would only be worth it if we were going to get some serious money for him, man.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And that analogy with the car is actually so funny, but it is the truth, man. I think you only see him like partially through a couple of games, man. This season especially. I mean, we've only seen him for maybe a month and a half since he's come in. But I would really prefer if he was fit, if he was ready to take on the games. But the fact that he isn't is just so underwhelming. It's like, what's the point of having all of that ability? What's the point of having all of that skill, all of that, ability on the ball, is defensive abilities, is what I mean, his work rate. Like, what's the point of having all of that if you can't? By the way, big up to MHF, big up to Mo and Hassam for the redirect. Big up to you, my brothers. Thank you very much.
Big up.
What's the point of having all of that if you can't show it? If you can't show it, what's the point of having all of that? It doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. But I have to look at maybe if this guy wants to leave. I was hoping we could get 45 million for him, man. But clearly, I don't know what's gonna happen now. I don't know whether people are gonna do that. Apparently, people don't want to buy him. Maybe I over. You know what I mean? I overpriced him, and listen, it's crazy. It's crazy right now. But I really do hope that he can perform for us next season. Just stay fit for one more season. You're running your contract down. It's your last year. Run your contract down. What's the worst that can happen if you run your contract down? What is the worst that can happen? Yeah, Thomas Partey probably going to stay at the club now, it looks like. So, moving on from him, midfielders. Bruno G's linked, Zubamendi's linked. I'm seeing Arsenal fans getting happy on Twitter because Gilberto Silva done an interview with him on Amazon or something like that, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, what does this mean? Do you think he told him something behind the scenes to come to us?" I'm like, guys, relax. Do you think that Gilberto Silva's just gonna be like, "Yeah, bruv, you need to come to Arsenal after the interview's done? Come to Arsenal, mate. Yeah, forget about all these other clubs. You want to come to Arsenal?" But what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on about? Big up to everybody that has come in, by the way. What's your thoughts on Bruno Guimaraes and Zubamendi linked to the club?
Yeah, I'm excited by the Bruno link. £100 million release clause, apparently able to be paid over 3 yearly installments. So we're talking about 33.3 million here per year. That's a steal for me. I know people will say that £100 million is absolute mad. We're talking about 26-year-old international Premier League. £100 million might be mad, but I think it's a steal when you look at it's only being 30 million a year. That to me is crazy. So I'd love to see us go for that. I think he wants Man City or Arsenal. A lot of people will say that he'll choose Man City over Arsenal. My only hope is that Pep's future being up for grabs and the 115 hanging over him might make him decide that Arsenal will be a better project. But I am clutching the straws there because I appreciate that Man City are guaranteed trophies. When I look at the Brazil link with Edu, with Gabriel Martinelli, with Gabby, I think personally there's a link there. And I do believe that we were interested a couple of years ago. My problem is, I think that we need 2 potentially if we're going to lose a Thomas Partey. So if we keep Thomas Partey, then Bruno would be fantastic. I do think there's potential for Zubamendi, but I don't know that is the sort of player that we would look to add to Partey and Jorginho and Rice, because he's literally a deep lying playmaker type player, isn't he? I think for me, where I'd be more tempted to look at if we was to go for two would be both Bruno and Yusuf Fofana, because Fofana at Monaco has been box. He's a baller. Apparently, he's available for fairly cheap. They're talking between like 20 and 30 million. I think he'd be a fantastic signing, man. And there's your box to box. And Bruno can play 6 and 8. You got Rice, you got Jorginho, and then if you want, keep Partey as the El Neni or Jorginho as the El Neni of this year, then you do that as well, man. And I think that's surgery in the midfield, which is sorted. You've got everybody that can play everywhere there. You've got Rice, you've got Partey, you've got Jorginho, you've got Bruno Guimaraes, and you've got Fofana and Rice that can all play in that box-to-box role. I think it'd be a fantastic signing. Like, those two signings are the ones that I would like, to be honest. I know there's rumours of De Jong. I just don't know how much he'd be and what he'd want per week. I think he's a phenomenal ball carrier, but whether he's got the ability of and the steel of somebody like Bruno, I'm not so sure. I think Bruno is Premier League suited, and I think he'd be an absolute shithouse in the middle there because he's horrible to play against. I think that's what Arsenal need, man. Midfield of Rice, Bruno, and Ødegaard. That's got to be one of the best in the league, mate.
Yeah, I've been screaming that, man. We need to see you next Tuesday, ASAP. Yeah. I'll be real with you. Like if you look at every team, they have a see you next Tuesday in there, mate. You have to have it because that player can help you in games, man. He rattles the team. He rattles the people on the other team, and that is so valuable because if your other team is rattled, bro, then you just keep on your game. You just do what you're doing. It's so valuable to have, man. And I listen. I'm taking Bruno Guimaraes. I hated him before the links. As soon as we were linked to him, I was like, yeah, this guy's my new best friend. Bring him in, man. Bring him in. Like, I really couldn't care less. If he plays for my team, I love him. If he plays for another team, I hate him. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those relationships. And listen, I'll take him any day of the week. People are saying that he isn't good.
Neves is another one, actually. Sorry, in the chat, Mr. Adam there. João Neves is another very good player. Benfica, baller. I think he's about 19 or 20. Can play more of a box-to-box. He's got a little bit of creativeness on him, a little bit of flair, skill, great passer of the ball, great interception. But for me, when you've got Premier League proven, you go for it, man. And Bruno Guimaraes is that, bruv. He really is.
Have you seen his price, Dan?
Who?
João Neves.
No idea. No idea.
120 million release clause. I looked really? Here. I was like, whoa.
That's just not going to happen, is it?
You know what I mean? I liked the player profile. He was looking good, but then as soon as you told me 120 million to enter just into the discussions, I was like, no. Hold on a minute. That's Benfica. That's Benfica trying to do their robbery things, bro. They're just trying to rob someone. Yeah, and maybe the guy has got the quality, but it's not there now, bro. It's not there now. It's quality in the future. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Listen, I think for me, Yusuf Fofana is brilliant. I forgot to name him in that group of players because Yusuf Fofana, everybody says that he just reminds me of a younger Partey, somebody that can do the job like he does it. You know, he can long range passing, he's got it. Shooting, he's got it. You know, tackling, he's got it. Reading of the game, he's got it. Like, he's just an all round midfielder, and that's what we need at the moment in the team. Also, we need a 6. And I think Yusuf Fofana and Bruno Guimaraes is like just a perfect summer for us midfield wise. And obviously we'll get to the strikers in a second, but yeah, I think those two midfielders, we get them in. That is, I'm seriously happy with what we're going to be doing next season. And he played against us I think he scored against us in the Emirates Cup when we played Monaco. I think he might have scored against us.
He did. He was a baller, yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy, but I definitely want to go in for him. Moving on to, just before we move on to the aims for next season, just quickly on the striker, and I'll just quickly reel off what I'm looking at going for. Obviously, for me, I'm taking Isaac. Obviously, he's got a questionable injury history. But I'm taking him either way, just because of his Premier League experience. I can, you know, bite my tongue and just see what happens with him. Yeah, Osimhen is a no-go. Keep that guy as far away from my club as possible. That guy is on a first name basis with the nurse. This guy is best friends with her. It's crazy. So I'm all good. If you look at his injury record, it's like 3 pages long. So I'm all good. I don't want him at the club. I don't care how good he is. Um, when another player, Victor Yokeres, that is, listen, I said this on your channel when we were first going over Isaac and Yokeres, and I'll say it again, man. Listen, I would, if it's between the two, I would take the risk, man. I would take the risk on Victor Yokeres. I don't know what it is about him, man. He just gives me, like, I know Nunez is like has just completely like butchered any kind of any kind
Yeah.
of like respect and hope you have for any promising talent coming out of the Portuguese league. But with Gyökeres, there's just something about him. The fact that he played for Coventry, like
Hmm.
just the fact that he's putting up all these numbers, how he looks on the pitch, like he's able to move from side to side. He's on the left wing at times, and he's passing the ball in. He's down the middle, like he's quick on the ball and able to just move off and just bang. You know, when you got a sharp shot, like a sharp shot, you got a sharpshooter that's able to hit the ball quickly, and it just smacks into the back of the net. I listen. I have a lot of hope in this guy. If we can get him, just based on what he did in Coventry, shows me that he can handle the English football and how it is, how physically demanding. The Championship is even worse than the Premier
Mm,
League. It's more physical in the Championship because they don't care. They'll lay into you, and the refs let it go because it's
right.
more physical than the Premier League. The Premier League's all got its eyes on it. It's got VAR, so there's more eyes on it. So they have to be a bit more lenient, and they have to be a bit more like on job with the bookings. But Gyökeres, I'd go for him, man. I think. What's your thoughts on the whole situation with strikers?
Well, we need a number 9. It's clear. I think
Yeah,
Everton game proved that as well. We were missing chances. I like Havertz in the 9, but for me, it's not the number 9 that I want starting. I think he's definitely a player who does a lot for us, but he ain't the starter every week. Neither's Jesus. I like Trossard there, but it ain't for me long term. So we need a number 9. There's 3 names really that I look at. Um, I think Benjamin Sesko would be too much of a risk. He's just turned 20, I think, or 21. He's got 13
yeah,
goals at Leipzig. I don't know that that's a player that's ready right now, but I could be wrong. So I would go for somebody like Ivan Toney ahead of him just because he's Premier League proven and he's banging them in, right? So that would
yeah,
probably be my third option. My second option would be Victor Gyökeres because I feel like at Sporting Lisbon for 30 goals, Coventry 30 goals, took them to playoff final. For me, Sporting Lisbon are massively talking about this guy. And I feel like it's different with Darwin Nunez because he has been over in England, like you say. So he's definitely one I would look at. £84 million release clause, apparently. That's a good signing for somebody. And hopefully it could be for Arsenal if we're interested. But my
mm,
number 1 is Alexander Isak, man.
yeah,
There isn't anybody else that I want. I would actually go as far as to say that if he is 120 million, I'll pay it. And then you get your number 9 that's guaranteed your goals. His injury record's not great, but when you look at it, he played 30 games in the Premier League this season, which a lot of people will say is good, which it
mm,
is. And his goal scoring record's phenomenal, man. He's a player that can play wide as well as up top, but I like him in the box. I think he's a killer, and it's what we need. I'm a big fan of
yeah,
him, man. So yeah, number 1, Isak. I take Gyökeres otherwise, and then it would be a flip of a coin. But I'm not really for Sesko, but fair play. But Tony, I think, could do a job at Arsenal still. I look at him and I think that he's a player that knows the Premier League and is ready. But
yeah.
yeah, Isak's the one we've got to try and get. But I don't think Newcastle will sell him. They certainly won't sell him and Bruno in the same window. That's for sure, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We have to pick, and I think that brings us to the question. We both got asked a question. I'll let you answer it first. He said,
Go on.
"Question: What should be Arsenal's realistic window? Not what you want, but what you can get. Let's say for 200 million total."
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? £200 million. I think we need to look at what we are looking to try and get, and it's going to cost more than 200 million if we want to do all this. So we're going to have to get some player sales in there as well. But if you're talking about just incomings for 200 million, Then I think we need, with that 200 million, to get a number 9 on the list that we've just said, a midfielder on the list that we've just said. And I kind of feel like we need to look at some cover and defence for Saliba, because he's the one that really does, it worries me about him if he was to get injured again. So maybe Diamande from Sporting Lisbon. He's about 35 million, they reckon. He's an absolute monster. 20 years old. He looks like Konate. He's a beast. So that would be one. I think somebody like Bruno or De Jong is going to cost you a hell of a lot of money, but you pay it, and then you use the rest of it for that number 9, whether it's Sesko or whether it's Victor Gyökeres or whatever. So I think they're the positions that I would go with. Then what I would do to add on top of that is, with the player sales, I'd look to try and get some covering for Saka and another midfielder like a Fofana type. So yeah, man, that's what I would do, I suppose. The positions we need to cover: backup goalkeeper if Ramsdale goes, right-sided centre-back cover for Saliba. Definitely look at a couple of midfielders that need to come in there. And then you look at getting your number 9 and either using Jesus as your cover for wide men, or you go and buy somebody like Pedro Neto, Elise type, that's going to do the business for cover for Saka. But I don't feel like those names would want to come to Arsenal with Saka and Martinelli there, because I think they know that they're and Trossard. They probably know that they're not going to be guaranteed first team football.
Elise definitely. Elise definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd go. Yeah.
That's the sort of window that I think we need, is a quality one.
Listen, I agree with what Dan said, but I just want to add one. I definitely think we need a obviously we've got Duran Timber, but I think we need a backup left back. He's leaving, guys. He's leaving. Come on, let's go, man. Listen, obviously Zinchenko, I hope he leaves. I really hope he does. Yeah, I really hope he does. I'm tired of seeing him, sit there and marking Salah on his right foot. Yeah, leave his left foot, which is his strong foot. Let's just mark his right foot. Let's mark his right foot and leave his strong foot so he can just go past you and just put it in the top corner.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Listen,
not a fan.
I really hope that guy leaves my club. I think we can get much better. Somebody that we already have somebody on the ball anyway in Timber, but in case he gets injured, we can get somebody else that comes in as a backup for Timber. I think Timber's good enough to start. I think his levels are high, so I think he's able to start next season. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured again like he did at the start of this season. But that's really the only position that I'd say, other than the ones that you named. I really think Kivior is going to start to play more and more games. And he's gonna. I think this season, to be honest, we've got to big him up as well. I think that's a player that, at times he had, at times it was difficult for him, but he actually helped us in a lot of those games. Like, especially coming back from the Dubai trip, he helped us with a lot of those games, like to play that position out of his normal position. Playing at left back is difficult. Do you know what I mean? And for him to do it in the Premier League consistently, I think he played like 10 games there, something like that. So yeah, it was brilliant for him, to be honest, in my opinion. And just to end off, aims for next season. What is your aim for next season? Obviously, the main one is to win a trophy, but what's your aims for next season, mate?
My aim next season is to win a trophy and challenge for the league. So whether that's the league that you win, or a domestic cup that you win, or a Champions League that you win, you need to win it, and you actually need to challenge for that league. None of this coming 8th and winning an FA Cup, or coming 5th and winning a League Cup, or whatever it be. For me, you need to be challenging now every season, and I'm talking about taking to the last game of the season again. Not like, we've dropped off with 6 games to go. Like, we proper challenge. Then when I look at it, every competition we should be taken seriously. Whether it's the League Cup, I want us to be getting to at least the semi-finals of that. I don't want us to be going out in the first round of it. FA Cup, likewise. I don't mind if you lose to Manchester City. Hell, I don't even mind if you lose to Liverpool, because let's be real, they're a top side. But you don't accept going out to Nottingham Forest, or to Brighton, or to Shrewsbury, or whatever it be. For me, you go and you come up against the best. So that's the domestic cups. In the Champions League, I want us to be going in the deep stages, semi-finals, finals.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be seeing. None of this last 16 stuff again. Quarterfinals this season was good because in the way that we lost to an elite team, at least it wasn't like we lost to Club Bruges or Maccabi
Yeah.
Haifa or something crazy like that. So that's fair. We need to be getting to the deep stages of that. So yeah, latter stages of all competitions, win a trophy and challenge for the league title, mate, is my minimum expectation. Can we do that? Yes, we can. So that's why I'm saying we should be doing it, because that's what I think we can do. And Mikel Arteta, there's going to be pressure on him if he doesn't win something again. But the context of it sometimes needs to be taken into more consideration than it is. But next season, there might not be any more excuses if he doesn't win something for a lot of the fan base, because it will get rather silly. But we have an opportunity. We're in 4 competitions. We go for it, and we try and get silverware across the line, bruv. That is the minimum expectation, 100%.
No, 100%, man. I agree, man. For me, it's pretty simple. I want to win a trophy. I really don't care what trophy it is at this point. Bring me a League Cup, bro. I don't care. I just need these guys to win something. Do you know what I mean? A challenge for the league as well. Challenge for the league. We need to challenge for the league. Even if you don't win the league, of course I want to win the league. So you have to press now. There has to be a very good reason why we didn't win the league. But I'm not saying take the back step and then just sit there and just go and win a trophy and finish third or fourth. No, we're sticking with second, or we're going first. That's the minimum, and win a trophy, whether it be the Premier League. If it's the Premier League, then I'm gonna be ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic.
Oh
But
yeah.
I think you have to bring a trophy to the table now. You have to. You've brought the good play. You've brought the competition. You know what I mean. You've competed at a high level. You've gone toe to toe. You've beat all the top 6 in the season. That's all great. Now you have to start bringing out your silverware. All you've got is an FA Cup to put on the table. We have to start improving that. We have to start increasing on the amount of trophies that we have, and that's one of my main things. That another thing I'd probably get an aim for next season is to possibly score more goals. Like I wanna break like a Premier League scoring record for that amount of goals scored. And maybe if we can just try. I know this season we were amazing defensively. Let's try and just do that. Let's try and beat that Chelsea record. I know it's impossible because that was crazy in itself. I think it was like 13 goals or 15 goals conceded in a season. If we could try and just, I think we were close this season. I think we only conceded like 2 to like 20. I think we only conceded like 25 or something like that goals this season,
Yeah, it
or
was good
27 or
defensive
something
record,
like
man.
that. But if we can push and try and beat, like I want to beat one of those records, man, because we this team needs to be up there, like breaking these records, and I'd love it if we could. But most importantly, trophy needs to be put up on the table next season. 100%, it needs to be done. In order for us to move forward. And it looks like whatever happens at the moment, by the way, just to speak on that quickly, I know we're going to wrap up in just a second, but just speak on that quickly. Mikel Arteta looks like it's sealed that he's getting a new deal, by the way. It looks like it's sealed. So regardless on what
That'll
happens
happen.
next season, it looks like they're gonna stick with him anyway. So regardless on whether we're Arteta in or Arteta out, it looks like they're just sticking with him. So let's just hope that he does go and win a trophy anyway. So the fan base doesn't have to freaking collapse in on itself and then completely start fighting. But yeah, I really hope he can go in and win the trophy. Dan, thank you very much for joining me today, my brother. Listen, much respect to you. Guys, 12th My Podcast, it is in the description. Make sure to go over there. Make sure to drop him a subscription. There may be a few people in here that probably aren't subscribed to him. He has, listen, right now, he's on the road to 20K. If we can push him there, We need to get that done ASAP, guys. So in the link in the description, go and click on his link to his channel. Go and subscribe. Get him to 20k. There has to be some people. There's 118 people currently watching. Some of you must not be subscribed to him. I know he's popular. I know he's already his channel's massive, so you probably are subscribed to him. But if you aren't, go and subscribe to the 12th Man podcast. Make sure to get that done for me, people. Make sure to drop a like here as well. Make sure to get that done and subscribe to the Sards Football Corner. Make sure to get that done for me, people. And we will catch you on the next one. Peace out, people. Love.